Pick a card. How do you hypnotize others? Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you at your reading. Welcome to my channel. My name is Griselle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do another pick a card reading. Before we really get into it, I do want to do a little bit of sagey sage, and because why? That's my favorite thing to do. So we're going to go ahead and cleanse the area of any energies, play with fire a bit as well. Today we're going to explore why people get hypnotized by you. Why are you so hypnotic? Figured we would try something fun for a change, something a little bit different. So why are you hypnotic? We're going to get some cleansing energy going on here. Yep. And we are going to be choosing from this little baby deck right here. It's super cute. And these are rune cards. So bear with me. I am using a cheat sheet as this is not something that I'm typically accustomed to doing. But I love the cards and I think you might enjoy them as well. So why are you hypnotic? We would love to know why you're hypnotic. Let's get 3 cards, please. They're tiny, so I'll prop them up like this. Pile number 1, Degas. Pile number 2, why are you hypnotic? Okay, Gebo. And if I'm mispronouncing, do forgive. And pile number 3, Urus. So take a peek at these cards. As per usual, I will get a picture, a close-up, and I will see you at your reading. Please pause if you need more time to make your choice. Hi friends. If you chose pile number 1, then this message is obviously for you. You chose Degas. And that runestone is affiliated with breakthrough, enlightenment, balance point, transmutation, and awakening. And this is a crux of what makes you hypnotic. Let's find out a little bit more about that. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And for those of you that are repeat offenders, hello, and thank you for stopping back. I just got a jumper, and if you've been around with me for a while, y'all know that this means it's going to be one of the most important things. The jumpers want to make themselves known. This jumper happens to have come out in the pre-shuffle right before I actually turned on your reading. So I got to read it. Up close, too many burdens, extra responsibilities, efforting, stress, exhaustion, duty, obligation, burnout, and struggles. The interesting part is that this landed sideways, tells me that the energy that people actually get magnetized to you, and they get, I heard obsessed, but they get focused on you, really is because they've seen you carry a lot of burdens. And I feel like they've seen you go through a lot of stages, a lot of metamorphosis, just the same way that the butterfly would. They've seen you go through a caterpillar stage where you're trying to awkwardly finding your own way. And all of a sudden you built this little, it's called a crystalline, that little sac where the butterflies get into, well, they encase themselves in, right? And I feel like you've kind of, I heard the word entomb. So maybe you've entombed yourself. And in the tarot, that would really mean going into hermit mode. That would be going within for learning, going within for higher learning, understanding, enlightenment, and breaking out of that point and actually becoming a butterfly. I think that people have really seen you exercise your wings, maybe pushing back against the status quo, having many different breakthroughs. And I think that you are known for this. You could be somebody that when we observe you today, you're going to be radically different than you will be a year from now. And so people have a hard time keeping up with this. You could be somebody that changes your hair frequently. I resemble that remark, by the way, no judgment there. You could be somebody that has a lot of passions and interests, and you could cycle through those things, as other people would say, maybe quickly, right? But you're just impassioned and you're very different. Something about you is incredibly different. Also, I haven't seen like a lot of butterflies just hang out with one specific butterfly. So you could be a little bit of like that popular loner vibe. That would be another thing. But you are very beautiful to watch and graceful to watch. And people are impressed with your strength. I want to say that. Let's see what else we have here. Why is this card here, this rune card? For pile number 1, please. I would like 3 cards. More information on why pile number 1 is hypnotic specifically. Yes, so you've undergone a lot of endings, a lot of public things. A lot of things that maybe warranted some privacy, but it wasn't so. So painful ending, stabbed in the back, loss, being left out to bleed. Oh, yeah, being left to bleed out. Crisis, deep wounds, collapse, exhaustion, betrayal, and failure. So you've undergone so many different changes. And I feel like you've undergone this professionally as well as personally. Most of all, to me, it felt like personal. That would be like family dynamics and things like that. But also maybe even professionally, you have experienced these and people have seen that. And so part of the fascination, okay, is the way that you've been able to take on that energy and really transmute it and create something better than you. Higher elevated thought, breakthrough. You've utilized it as a catalyst to keep you going and make you a better person, I feel. Yeah. So the Wheel of Fortune, yeah, definitely good luck in karma. I feel like people have been able to see how you've changed this and even utilized this. You haven't stayed in that victimhood, in that painful era for a long. I feel like you just get back up, look, and you're like, I'm the boss, applesauce. That's what's up. Okay. And I think that I heard Energizer Bunny. It's like takes a licking and keeps on ticking. These are old, obviously very old ways of expressions, of saying things, but I'm going to say that that's what is hypnotic about you, is that, wow, like you stood up after that. I can't believe it. Now, let's see. Let us see. We're like trying to keep the personal examples to a minimum here. Why are you hypnotic? The Magician was the card on the bottom of the deck. So we have, let's get that zoomed in here. We have manifestation, focus, creativity, skill, visions turned into reality. Basically, if I were to use one sentence to sum it up, is your visions are turning into reality. But people are really shocked and shook by the way that you're able to take something seemingly negative, painful endings, painful betrayals, and things that other people would be like, you know what, I'm going to jump in that hole and just throw the dirt in behind me quick, like bury me now. Now, emotionally, I have felt that way. But it appears that, you know, some of us, when we just get buried deep into things like that, it really is almost like your higher self or source putting the soil on top of you and allowing you time to germinate and allowing you time to become a different kind of a creature and grow out of that dirt and become someone and something different. And this and I heard the audacity. So some people are a little bit miffed by that. They're like, well, can't you just stay down when I've kicked you down, kind of a thing. You could have had a lot of people that are like malicious, with malicious intent after you, that kind of a thing. Now, of course, that might just be for one person. But right here, this to me does look like the figure 8 almost. The Magician is all about having all the tools in order to really self-actualize. And it is the power vibration of number 1. It's new beginnings. It's having that higher vision that we are talking about right now. And not only this, but I feel like people that have stomped on you or try to really end an era is what I'm hearing. Okay, so this could be like really physically or metaphorically, but they have really done the worst to you. And I feel like they are just shocked that you continue like resurrecting and making the best out of a situation that was not meant to be. And in spite of themselves, I feel like your enemies are not only are they shook, but they're also incredibly inspired in spite of them. How is that for a little bit of amusement, right? I mean, that's a little bit of what I would call poetic justice. So this is why you're hypnotic. Financial health. So maybe you have suffered a major loss, setback, and it just appears like, just like this bonsai tree, that everything is getting pruned simply so that you can grow in the right direction. And maybe like when one well ran dry, meaning like a financial source, maybe a job ending or a partnership ending or multitude of things I'm hearing. It was simply to allow you to be pruned and become the bonsai that the vision the arborist had in mind. I don't know if they call them arborists anyways, but here we are. So you get the point. Pile number 1. Why are you hypnotic, please? Travel. That was interesting. It was on its side. So let's see a little bit more about that. Tell me more about this. You're hypnotic because I feel like in the end you get justice. And it's not justice that you are seeking. I feel like you're you know, a little bit at a standstill. You're like, okay, I'm down. Or even when you're not down, you tend to be a little bit, again, of popular loner vibe. But people kind of want to see you. They want to see your face. They want to see the comeback in like real time. And I feel like they can only be like warriors at this point in time in your life, especially if they've done you dirty. So I have the Justice card right here. And I feel like also because she's all drenched in white, I'm like dressed in white and so close to that moon right there. And we have the scales. This is definitely like Libran energy, but the scales are always rectified for you. I feel like people that have the audacity to even touch a hair in your head or any clothing that you may have with malice or negative intent, definitely regret it. They live to regret it. I'm hearing, and I don't feel like you're somebody who is even intent or focused on like revenge or, you know, karma. When are they going to get theirs? I really hate that mentality. I feel like, why are you preoccupied with stuff that is not even your business? That's my attitude and mindset. Just FYI, not that you asked, but here we are. And I'm just going to say that justice gets doled out on your behalf simply because you don't concern yourself with things like that. And I feel like even if you were to hear about your enemy's demise, right? Because I don't feel like you take things personally. It could hurt in a personal way. But in the end, I feel like you understand that people are people and it has way more to do with their own demons and their own lack of character and their own lack of commitment, their own desires, basically, than anything to do with you. So you're able to just really kind of distance yourself from wanting that revenge and that punishment. It's just kind of, that desire for me is just so weird. I don't understand it. I personally, you know, when I get done dirty, I'm like, all right, you're out. Next. I mean, get out of my face, get out of my life. And I just don't want to deal with you or see you. I don't wish you harm. And it's a little bit like Tupac, you know. I badly paraphrased, but, you know, I don't mind if you eat, just not at my table kind of a thing. So I feel like that's why Spirit really doles out justice for you. And I feel like when you leave people's lives or they leave your life or something happens, it gets handed out swiftly and they are like unable to really take their eyeballs off you, pile number 1. So why else are you hypnotic? So manifestation, grounded, ambitious, offering a gift, goal-oriented, financial opportunity, planner, consistent, loyal, faithful, and messenger. Yeah. So you could be somebody like me. Maybe you read tarot, maybe you're a channeler, maybe you do all the above. But for whatever reason, I feel like you even indirectly deliver messages to those that come at you sideways. And once again, I feel like it's about their life lessons, their soul's journey. It doesn't have necessarily to do with you. But I do feel like, unfortunately, we do get used as catalysts in order to really prompt growth and spur other people on their own journey. Okay, that's what I've observed. But Everybody has their own philosophies. Now, also, people could just see that maybe sometimes they're like, oh, there's no coming back from this, and I'm embarrassed for pile number one. And you're like, you know what? I'm out here surviving. I'm out here figuring things out for myself. And you just look for opportunities and new ways to grow yourself, hone your skills. You realize that if there is an ending, it just means that it's an ending for this path or this person. It doesn't mean an ending for everything. And you don't give in to that depression or that mentality, even if you are feeling it, okay? And that's why we're hypnotized by you. It's almost like an Energizer Bunny. It never quits. Oh my goodness. Listen, I'm going to share it anyways. I debated, and then it came to mind again. I'm like, I'm just going to share it again. But once upon a time, I did get in a fight with a male, and this was amongst my friends, like I was a kid. And a long time ago, and basically it was like blow by blow, and I was knocked down. I mean, it should have ended there, but I just kept getting up. I was like, I had that willpower that regardless of what happens to me, you're going to have to bury me before the fight's over, kind of a thing. And I think that people were so shocked that nobody intervened because I kept coming back like bad habit. So I feel like it's a very similar case of that. It's like, oh my goodness, I cannot even believe. Okay. Yeah. So people could see that even if you've come apart in public or coming apart or unraveling, people think, wow, well, that's the end, or that's, that's kind of sad, or whatever it is that they think. But what they don't realize is that you're cracking through layers and layers and layers and becoming your most authentic self anyways. So every time that there is a quote ending, every time that there is a quote obstacle, you seem to be able to get back up and leap and bound over these things and become your most authentic self. And I think that that's why you're highly favored by spirit, okay? We have the number 46 right here. So 4 is all about stability. And I feel like number 6 is a very spiritual number as well, okay? So, yeah, but I feel like you've broken through your own facade, your own ego. You've had many ego deaths. And this thing and coming apart has allowed you to become your most authentic self. And I think that people are shocked because most people are so concerned with like how they look or what people think about them. And you're like, you know what? I'm just out here, living my best life, trying to ascend, trying to be my best self, the best version of me. At any point in time, the best version of me, says pile number 1, 2.0 right here. And we can't take our eyes off of you. Yep. You move in silence. You make big, bold moves. You make declarations that are kind of shocking. And in the end, I feel like, yeah, betrayal and deception, get away with something. I mean, I feel like this gets revealed every single time in your life. Like people get unmasked quickly. And the way that you're able to bounce back from it, or I even identify people like that, is kind of shocking to them. Because keep in mind, we're so absorbed in our own lives, and a lot of people don't claim their intuition, their gut feelings, and things like that. There's Coco cooperating. But I'm going to say that because you're so in tune with that, you listen to your gut and even if you can't put your thumb on it or your finger on it or point it out exactly why, a scallywag when you feel it vibrationally, their energy does not lie. And therefore, I don't feel like you are ever caught totally off guard. I feel like you've seen it come in. And here it is. And that's caused you to truly elevate, see things from a higher perspective. But I also feel like lone wolf vibes from you. Okay. Yes. So the last thing I have for you, pile number 1, if you're liking this reading, do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Check this out. You are the magical map shifter. You have the ability to overcome so many things. There is a clock on her chest, 1 on her hand, and what appear to be like feathers. And of course, your intuition is on point. So I feel like it's almost like you could appear in different places in time, like different timelines, and people are kind of shook by that. And also, I feel like when people kind of do you dirty and do you wrong, what's kind of riveting about you and why you are so hypnotic is because you handle things with skill, with energy, with calmness, with confidence. And even if you're not feeling it on the outside, I think that and you have a little bit of just that trust and spirit that they're going to take care of everything. But the way that you resurrect, and you don't have to like resurrect in person in front of people that have betrayed you or done you wrong, but I do feel like you manifest over and over again in front of those people in different ways, shapes, and forms. They could see your energy in other people all of a sudden. And I feel like you can prompt other people to have these awakenings that were not expected by either one of you. And the interesting part is that it leads right back to this rune, which is called the breakthrough, right? And so I do feel like you not only overcome your own ego and your own issues with many fluctuations and changes with the number 5, but you find your most authentic self and your peace by just standing true as to who you are and how you do. And you bring about, it's like a tower moment for other people, especially those that have been in your life that have lied to themselves and betrayed you. So I don't think that, you know, pile number 1, you're somebody who sets aside, oh, I'm gonna, you know, I'll teach them or whatever. But I feel like Spirit uses you in that manner, and that maybe perhaps other people like talk like you, speak like you, maybe something about people move like you, and they're reminded over and over again about not only what they did to you or the lies that they spread or the rumors, but how you moved gracefully away from things and just continued on your own path. Without that need for retaliation and things like that. So that is what I have. It makes you somebody who's completely magnetic. I can't help but think magnetic over and over again. Incredibly graceful. And I feel like you still have an open heart chakra here. And you welcome people with open arms because you can read energy. The more that you ride with the flow and that you are trusting in yourself, your arms are still wide enough to receive love and to give love and to be totally like pure in it, simply because you trust that you have the ability to cut out the bad stuff should it come towards you once again. So that is what I have for you. Thank you so much. Pile number 1, much love to you. Until next time, namaste. Hi, pile number 2. My name is Griselle with Psychic MD, and I'm here to do your reading. So the rune card that you chose is Gebo or Gibo. I'm not sure how you exactly pronounce that. It's a very, very beautiful card. Let's see if we can zoom in here on this here card. So here we have the full moon, and we have the swan, and of course all of the beautiful flowers. And let's see. And this means gifts, partnership, sacrifice, fair exchange, and honor. And the reason why you're hypnotic, why people cannot take their eyeballs off of you, first of all, are these things. I feel like you're incredibly fair, but I feel like you could be really, really attractive as well. So people like physically can't take their eyeballs from you. Voice crack. Did you hear that? No? Okay. So you are definitely connected, I feel, with the other side. I feel like with gifts, you know how to read a room. I feel like you're incredibly sensitive. I feel like you're graceful in a manner that you make all hard work seem easy. I feel like you have quite the analytical ability, which is a surprise to people simply because your physique, your aesthetics are so on point that I don't know why, but you would be underestimated in your 3D life quite a bit. Also, with the sacrifice here, it's showing somebody that really has a pure heart. And I think that people are really surprised by your kindness, by your level-headedness, and by the fact that you just don't get carried away and take yourself too seriously as far as your looks or your impact on others. Okay. Basically, what I mean, pile number 2, is that you may be entitled to pretty privilege, but I do not feel like you strategize that way. Whether you're handsome privilege or pretty, it doesn't make a difference. You get the point? I don't feel like you kind of move that way. You don't make an entrance and try to use the pretty privilege in your favor. I think that you're just very direct, and that is quite a beautiful thing. And that's why you're so magnetic and hypnotic, because people would anticipate, and they've seen a dime a dozen where people are like, oh yeah, they're, you know, they're in their pretty privileged phase. But I feel like there's a depth to you that people have no understanding, and that they've never seen anyone move the way you do. Bottom of the deck, pile number 2, check you out. The storm feels. Listen, With the number 9, let me just zoom out. Can we zoom out? Maybe not. Yes? No? I don't know why you're not zooming out. Sorry. Okay, so I guess we're going to manually zoom. Listen, so pile number 2, I definitely feel like you are somebody who can read the weather quite easily. You can read the room, the temperature of the room. You could see things coming a mile away. For example, if you work with the public customer service industry, I feel like you can identify quickly who is going to be a Karen and how that's going to play out. I also feel like you can identify and figure out who is going to deal with that kind of energy and how they're going to deal with it and what the final end outcome is going to be, which is quite interesting. So yeah, once again, that goes back to your analytical abilities. Why isn't this zooming out? It's tripping me out. I don't know what's going on here. My camera is like, I do what I want. Okay, moving on. I will do the best I can with what I have. Sorry guys, but it seems like this is where we're at. Yeah. Anyways, so I feel like you could see things coming a mile away. And I feel like you have a very graceful way about you to address manners like this, things like this, Karen's like this, if that is a thing. So whether it's a person, place, or thing, I feel like you have your hair perfectly, done and presentable. And I'm feeling like, kind of like slicking back your eyebrows and that kind of a thing in order to deal with it. Another form of like rolling up your sleeve, but in a pretty way or in a handsome way, right? So you could deal with energies that just kind of want to take you out. They want to take you out physically, but also energies that people want to be you. They're like, well, why can't I make moves like that? And I think that people are shocked by that. Also, pile number 2, I feel like you call people out on their BS. I don't think that you put up with it. Once again, if somebody is getting wound up, I feel like you'll just cut through the chase and say something to kind of end the momentum. It's almost like throwing a wall in the middle of that's greater than the fury around it, right? And putting a stop, or at least momentarily shocking people so that they have to re-strategize and think about what it is that they're about to do. Yes, and look, this card came out, the 4 of Wands, with the number 1111 being highlighted right here. This always reminds me, of course, angel numbers, but also it's like the 4 corners of earth, the balance, also the 4 corners of your home, everything about the home front. So I can't see it all the way over there. Harmonizing, celebration, harmony, marriage, family, friends, reunions, community, gathering, stability, and belonging. Yeah. And so I feel like you are one that if things get rocky, you know how to make it stable. I'm talking with like a weird accent and I can't even control this camera. What is going on in my life? I have no idea. But typically I feel like you're going to handle these situations the same way I cannot handle my camera, with grace, and you're just going to go for it, go for the gusto. And I feel like the final product, the proof is in the pudding. When people look at your life, they think, how in the world did you ever navigate that challenge? And it's shocking to them. I also feel like when you're at the workplace, even in life in general, people look to you for leadership. How are you going to handle the situation? How would pile number 2 handle this? And that's what they ask themselves in order to be able to figure out how to navigate a situation. Okay, so why is pile number 2 hypnotic? Why does pile number 2 hypnotize us? Your beauty. Ooh, I heard that ass, but that's for somebody here. Okay, you could have a connectivity to pile number 1 only if you feel led to. So let me read while you just look at this, right? On this card, manifestation, grounded, ambitious, offering a gift, goal-oriented, financial opportunity planner, loyal, messenger. Yeah. So even though it says messenger here, I feel like you could be a manager, a planner. You have the ability to even counteract these storms, like when they come into your life and other people's lives. You could be like a hostage negotiator kind of a thing. That's obviously for like one person. Okay, so why are we hypnotized by pile number 2 outside of all those things? Look, 6 of Wands, you have a lot of admirers. And once again, I'm feeling led to hear that you're not about the pretty privilege. You're not even about how people pedestal you, how they really notice your strengths. It's not like you're bionicle or you've got superpowers, but you're a regular person, a beautiful or handsome person to look at physically. And the way that you move, the way that you do things is definitely noticed. But I feel like you don't fall prey to the ego. When people stand up and applaud, you realize that that storm can just blow over a different way. And pretty soon you're the bad guy for not having to notice it sooner. So I feel like you understand that the crowd can turn on you on a dime. And you are not concerned or focused on that because I think that you know where that can lead you. That's all ego-based anyways. And that's just like incredibly, to me, attractive anyways. Look, what were you just saying? You're not, whether friend or foe, however people view you, I feel like you really strive to remain neutral. You have that wand, the ability to defend yourself, the passion. Yeah, the ability to stand your ground, to have boundaries, defending your position. Your perseverance. You are protected, by the way, I feel like, even of other people, even in spite of yourself. Now, I resemble that remark incredibly. In spite of people, listen, Linda. I know y'all ain't named Linda, but it just goes. So I'm just going to say that even people who do not have your best interest at heart, if they're in a stormy situation, I feel like they'll look to you for help. And you're that kind of person who you're like, okay, Wanda, okay, whoever, you know, I'm going to jump in and help you, but not necessarily for you. I'm just going to help the situation because I don't like it. Oh, my microphone fell, or I don't agree with it, or we have to work together, and I see this coming a mile away, and even though you low-key deserve to be whacked with those wands, yeah, I'll step in. I feel like that's totally you. Why are we hypnotized by pile number 2, please? Pile number 2, you are fiery. You are fiery. You appear to have all the answers. I don't think that you tout yourself as like having all the answers once again. But you guys know that when the swan is swimming, their little feet are going furiously under the water. And yet they move so gracefully. On top of the water just feels like they are just gliding through life and nothing is, you know, there's no effort. But underneath the water, there is a ton of effort. And I feel like within you, there's so much effort and so much like navigating and motion and strategizing on how you're going to move and what you're going to do. But it's not to make yourself look good or to get the approval of those around you. I feel like that's very much neutral. I feel like you focus on what is right always, like what is the right thing to do, and intervene even again on people's behalf that most people would say they don't deserve it, okay? But we can't take our eyes off of you. We are hypnotized by your energy, by your beauty and handsomeness, but because you're also courageous, energetic, and charming, because you have passion and you thrive on adventure because you're free-spirited. I feel like you're quick-witted as well, rebellious, hot-tempered, and you've got some drive. You're quick to make some moves sometimes, but I feel like that's also been tempered maybe a little bit with age, with experience, or perhaps even both. Pile number 2, you are definitely hypnotic. Tell me a little bit more about this. Why are you hypnotic? Oh, God. When we get done with this reading, I'm throwing this card away. Okay, pile number 2, because you're one ring circus. Say that really fast. One ring circus. One ring circus, okay? And I mean, look at this beautiful elephant standing in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, how did you get there, number one? So many questions. People can think, well, how did you get here? You have the approval of a lot of people, but we don't understand how you are on top, how you manage this. It seems like the magic carpet is on top of that elephant, and instead of like the elephant jumping on the magic carpet and flying away, it seems like the magic carpet cloaks you, okay? So you could have so much magic about you, even without kind of realizing it. I feel like even though you understand, you realize that you have charm, you don't give it so much merit that it's distracted you, that you've used it and weaponized it for nefarious reasons, right? I feel like you are more concerned with like abundance and an elevated perspective. And also, you've had to have a thick skin about things as well. But elephants are incredibly intelligent. And, you know, I don't think that... I heard elephant head. Okay. You could have, I don't know, a connection to that movie Mask with Cher. It was like a really old movie in the 80s, I believe. And you could maybe have liked that movie. Great acting in there. But yeah, people just think that you're a one-ring circus. And yeah, you're not like a show pony. You're not about to trot around and like look your best and whatever, this and that and preen. I feel like you just have everything is so solid about you that the beauty and the handsomeness, the aesthetics is like a side note, and it is a bonus. So you could have had a lot of things happen to you in life that that have kind of whittled away a lot of your options, and you've had to make your way through life and navigated things in a purposeful manner, but in a different manner than other people. Chances are you probably don't have like the 9-to-5, or you have a side gig such as myself. You know, that's quite different. This could be seen as like a little bit showboaty or like a one-ring circus. I don't know. But it just depends on who's watching, who's judging, regardless of the case. With the number 1, obviously it's our persona, what we put out there into the world, how we're viewed and things like that. And then number 5, a lot of changes, a lot of fluctuations that people have seen you go through. And it just seems like, wow, I can't believe that you've done that and you've done this and you've done, maybe you're jack of all trades, right? And you have really come into your own and grown because of that as well. But people are definitely stunned. And people do want to go to the circus. It's still like, you know, it's still kind of an impressive thing. So why else are we hypnotized by you? The King of Cups. So male, female doesn't make a difference. In this channel, we are reading simply energy. Well, okay, we're reading cards too right here. But with this card, this is stating, clear up camera, thank you. Devoted, emotionally mature and balanced, intuitive, compassionate, supportive, and empath. So you could have all of these qualities. And I just saw the number 1444 right now on camera. That could, you know, allude to a lot like 4, like the Emperor. I think that you have things under your belt that nobody really quite understands. People might really wonder like how you make it financially, how you do things, but you're solid. And they're like, this doesn't really make sense. Somebody who works in a circus, but they're solid. They're there for their family. They're accountable. And yet they could be fierce, but they're not egotistical. How could that not be something that is like mythical? Okay. You could be the quintessential unicorn. And that's why we can't take our eyeballs off you. Stop. Look at this. The 9 of Pentacles. You got beauty. You got class. I won't finish that. Look at that ass. That too. So right here, I mean, people find you incredibly attractive. And once again, I feel like you know it, but you give your back to it. You're like, okay, well, beauty is one thing, beauty fades. But really what is beautiful are people's hearts, their emotions, how they give to one another, how they treat other people. And I think that you are quite aware of that. And that's what makes you like really beautiful. Also the fact that you could have your own garden or be focused on your own coin and not really focused on what you can get from other people. You look at what's on your own plate. You know, when you go to restaurants and you're kind of looking around before you get served and you're like, oh shoot, I wish I would have ordered that. That looks really good. That sizzling plate of, you know, fajitas, and you see the wonderful fire across the room and all the things. And yet maybe you ordered, I don't know what a tostada maybe. And it seems lackluster. You know, you're not looking at other people's plates and going, wow, I wish I had that, or I want that, and all the shiny and the new. And that is incredibly beautiful. That is incredibly hypnotic. People wonder like how you came about this way, how you have that heart. Oh, they wonder what you do in the privacy of your own home. They wonder when you withdraw from people, because I feel like this is a lot of popular loner vibes. This is doing things my way. This is, you can't tell me what, you can't tell me nothing, right? This is, I do what I want. But also people are like, well, what does pile 2 want? We don't understand. What do they do? What do they do when they're at home, their privacy? What does that look like? And how has this journey like really changed you? Because we see the benefits of it, and we see like Daddy Saturn in the back. I just noticed that right here with rules and regulations. But I'm going to read you the card really quick because these are kind of cool. Coco, come on, buddy. No, come on. Okay, so introspect, inward, spiritual journey, spiritual illumination, soul searching, being alone, inner guidance, and withdrawal. Yeah. So when you go, let's say people know you from work, or, you know, I don't feel like you're super social. You're not out there socially rubbing elbows with the beautiful, with the lovely, and trying to, I don't know, be seen everywhere. I think that that part of your life, if you ever had it, is not as important to you any longer as much as your inner work is. So maybe you could be somebody who has done a lot of shadow work, a lot of meditating. And we're shocked at like the finished product, right? Because I feel like other people look at you and think, wow, that's a finished product. But you look at yourself and think, there's so much more to do, so much more to grow. Yeah. And people are riveted because they could be feeling left out of your life. They don't really quite understand what it is that you are doing. But you are definitely focused on growing and changing. And anything that doesn't really grow and change with you is being left behind, right? I feel like you could have a couple of businesses, if not just, you know, one business, but you were very fiery, always excited about your ideas, and you could have like big picture mentality, and sometimes have a difficulty in executing them because the finer details seem like, well, that's just details, right? But that could be you, and I feel like that's something that you've been addressing as of late. And that's intriguing because we all want to know what's up with your business, what's going on, how's that going? Well, what made you think that that would work, and how daring is that? And why aren't you using your charm and your pretty privilege and your handsome face to be able to sell this, that, and the other? So that is what I have for you. If you like this kind of reading, do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. Until next time, much, much love to you. Namaste. Sorry about that. Somebody messaged and it kicked us off. But I'm not sure what kind of a moon that is. But it is a very thin moon. And I feel like people are definitely magnetized because you could be, for example, like a bodybuilder, or you've endured so much that people don't know how you could have endured it. That kind of a thing. So your strength kind of bespeaks so much of you. I'm going to say also that people know not to mess with you, right? Because of that old saying, like, mess with the bull, you get the horns kind of a thing. But also people just know intuitively that even if it isn't like muscle strength, that they don't want to mess with the bull. They don't want to mess with you. And part of what makes you like hypnotic, that we can't keep our eyes off of you, is this strength that's about you, this ability to manifest and stay. And even when people think, well, there's no way, I feel like your faith could be something that is a topic of speculation. I'm looking at the crystals right here. I feel like you could be very unconventional. It seems like, even so, I feel like you guys can also be a little bit of my conspiracy theorist. Now, it seems to me like usually pile number 3 winds up being in that category of conspiracy. And by the way, that's me. Hello, how are you? That's me too. So if you don't fall under that, then that is perfectly fine. This message would not be for you. Another reason why you are incredibly magnetic and people get hypnotized by you is because of your judgment. I feel like you are very balanced. I feel like you see through people, through their motives, through all of their ish, and you don't pretend to do otherwise. And I feel like once you make an assessment, you make it quickly and you stand on that ground. I feel like rarely are you wrong. And people are a little bit shocked by this. They're shocked that you don't play like the social game of, well, let's play nice with everybody, or let's, you know, we'll turn a blind eye. We're not doing that. Where, you know, if you're going to be in my space, then you're going to get called out for whatever it is that you are. I mean, I feel like that's kind of your mindset and that is your truth. And people are a little bit shook by that. Now, it's a little bit like pile number 1, I think I was sharing at the very end, which I I should probably not be sharing about that. But for 30 views, I mean, what the hell? I can say what I want, right? No big deal. You know, I'm going to say that you have an ability to put on display other people's hidden motives, and that is actually quite shocking. And the fact that you speak the way you speak, the way you call a duck, even if it's, you know, I don't know, wearing a dress, you're just not afraid to do so. I feel like you are somebody who is slow to speak and slow to become angry. But also, I feel like you don't necessarily, you know, you don't go around and poke fun at people or try to undress people. I don't mean that physically. That's an old school term. You don't try to undermine people deliberately. That's not your motive. But I feel like you're very stoic. And if you see something that's dangerous or that's not you or that's full of BS, you are just simply going to call it. And you're freaking hypnotic when you do that, because I feel like you have a grace, a quiet way about doing things, a direct way about doing things. And I feel like people's eyeballs pop out of their heads. That's what I'm feeling right now. Okay. So pile number 3, you're my kind of people, is what I mean to say. Okay. Tell me a little bit more. Why is pile number 3 hypnotic? Tell me more about this, please. Look. Because you be dancing like nobody's watching, even if they are watching. And so what? A new beginning, innocence. So this is the Fool card, but I want to read to you the words. So please hold. This says, originality, fearlessness, free spirit, fresh hope, taking chances, new paths, spontaneity, and a leap of faith, right? This is why we can't take our eyeballs off you. Once again, the way you make your moves. And you could be, quote, slow to make moves, but I feel like your mind is razor sharp. Do not underestimate pile number 3. Not in the least. Not in the least. You could cause people anxiety. Maybe, I feel like, once again, even though the bull is sitting here, I don't feel like that's somebody who typically talks a lot. They don't have what one of my ex-boyfriends would call diarrhea of the mouth. Sorry. But I'm going to say that, you know, you can cause a lot of people some anxiety because they don't really quite know if they're going to be exposed or what. Yeah, there seems to be some anxiety around you. And why would that be, though? I mean, if you are about strength and power. Okay, so maybe people do fear your power. Like if you have a position in the company that seems, you know, to be coveted, or you have the boss's ear, or you are a boss or an owner, people are a little bit fearful of you and your role, but I don't think that they quite understand. I mean, this bull is somebody who, you know, belongs out to pasture, and that is not, you know, maybe you're older, maybe you are older, I don't know. But I feel like you don't put up with any nonsense, but also you don't go looking for trouble, right? I feel like you see directly into people's souls, and that causes a lot of anxiety. Why? Because people are not really being their authentic self, especially nowadays. We have TV, media. We have, what are those, like, fake belief stories? What are they called? Those, like the Kardashians, where it's real, but it's not real. Reality TV. That was so difficult to think of. Anyways, moving on. So why are we hypnotized by you? You have the ability to take in a lot of information, and you carry the burdens alone. So it says possessiveness. Focus, please. Insecurity, frugality, saving money, security, conservatism, blah, 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 blah. Solid investment, guarded, long-term security. Well, and then mostly here I see, have you guys ever seen The Gladiator? I don't think it's called The Gladiator, but anyways, it's one of my all-time favorite movies with Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix. And to me, this is giving strong Joaquin Phoenix vibes there when he played that role. He's like, so tell me, have you been a busy little bee? He was so good. Anyways, if you haven't seen it, go see it. But you could be somebody like that people don't really know. If you're nefarious or if you're a good guy or what. They don't know a lot about you other than the power that you wield. You could exert a lot of power when you walk in a room without even kind of blinking an eye. Your mere presence affects everyone else's energy around you. I will say that is a fact. Okay. So what else? Why are we mesmerized? Why are we hypnotized? Why are we magnetized? by pile number 3. Well, why wouldn't be? Why not? Why would we not be? We have the 2 of Pentacles. You have the ability to be pedestaled and weigh things out, okay? So I don't think that it goes to your ego. I think that you're well aware of how you stand, where you stand. I do feel like you are a pillar in whatever company or family or relationship that you're involved in, whether it's just a friendship or an association or whatever. You're definitely a pillar and somebody that people look to for guidance on how to act. So if you, it sounds really weird, but you know how when we were kids, we play follow the leader? You're the leader. Okay? You are the leader. So you have the ability to juggle, okay? And to, you know, the juggler is always talking about like juggling. Usually we, in our tarot, we talk about juggling you partners like, okay. So this could be like juggling more than one person in your life. And I feel like people might stress that if you're in a romantic connection or situationship that you would be juggling another person, like you're not loyal, in other words, but I don't think that they quite understand you. You have the ability, but would you? I feel like if you're more mature, you'd be like, no, that's just too much effort and just not me. Why I have the 3 of Pentacles? Well, it might be some of you guys, because that could be my cheater card as well. But, you know, that's entirely up to you. I feel like people are under the illusion that maybe you might date a lot. Even if you're a partner, that you might have a lot going on the side. You might have some strange, and I don't know. I don't feel it, but people might think that you do. So we have collaboration, teamwork, skills, shared goal, work and learning, and what? Pooling energy. Yeah. So energy and resources. But, you know, you're an energy reader in the end. And one of your strengths is the ability to pull teamwork in together and get people who appear or think that they're on opposite sides of a spectrum on something to be able to work and collaborate together. Now, I'm going to say for a couple of you guys, you might have some sensory issues, like you have to have like the shirt with the tag completely off and you can't cut it off, but you have to like unsew that little back, because even if you cut it off, you feel the tag. My son is very much that kid. But you could be something like that. Or you could have to, like, if you wear a certain type of texture of a sweater, you're going to be petting your own arms. That would be me, by the way. So you could have some kind of a sensory thing going on, like neurotypical, I guess is what I'm headed towards, right? So why are we completely hypnotized by you? I feel like you're unique and your presence speaks volumes. You don't even have to say a word. Okay, and you can be a little bit of a hermit. Why is this camera continuing to do this? It's making me nuts. Sorry, guys. But yeah, you could have a lot of going on in your home. I feel like you could be a homebody. Even this little owl, he's like, I'm in my home. Why you be looking? Who's photographing my home? That kind of a thing. And there's an element of time. So people could be looking, it's like time you stepped away from the home and did something different. You don't have to be holed up, walled off, and we don't know what you're doing. So get your booty out here, socialize, and be part of society. People could be thinking that about you. They just want to get to know you a little bit more, especially because you impact so much and so many around you when you are out and about. Oh, goodness. You could have a connection to pile number 2, okay? If you feel led to, you can watch that as well. This came out there, but you're a one ring circus. And I feel like you're more of the lion tamer. Like people think that they're big and they're bad or whatever. And then you could just cut them down with 2 words, or you can reconfigure things so to kind of disable the power that they have if they are in abusive power. Now that leads me back to my conspiracy theorists and people that don't look at the world the way 99.9% of the other people do. And I'm just going to say that you have the ability to really kind of, you know, demonstrate or prove points without having to really fuss over things. And that's kind of shocking. It's very attractive. It's a little bit daunting, okay? Because, I mean, if you were face to face with somebody who was like superpowers and super strong, and yet let's say their pineal gland, because I feel like the crystals all of a sudden is leading me to the pineal gland being decalcified and having that third eye, or the eye of Ra, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that would be a pretty intimidating combination. So the fact that the elephant is standing on a solid rock right here in the middle of the ocean, I feel like people look at you like you're the only one. Actually, when you explain yourself or when you point things out, like you're the only one that isn't moved by all of the motion of the ocean around you. People are like, oh my goodness, we're all dying. And did you like my voice, by the way? Anyways, but you get the point. We're all distressed about current events and things like that. So I'm definitely not mocking that. But I'm definitely, sure and focused about people that are using that and deliberately, causing wars and using that to make money and to further other agendas that we're not going to address at this point in time. But I feel like you are very stoic about it. You're grounded, and people feel calm and peaceful when the weather gets stormy, when things are happening around them. They actually feel at peace in your presence. You are reliable. You could be counted upon. And your words mean a lot, way more than you think they do to other people. Now, I happen to glance down. I was fiddling with these cards. These are feast your eyes, friends. So I have the wolf with the number 44. Again, to me, that's like a nod to the emperor. And this bowl definitely gives me emperor vibes. This is like my way or the highway a little bit. But also somebody who's very stoic that you can lean on. And it says, devour the ferocious calling within the howling of your spirit. Run wildly into the freedom of your knowing. And so it's almost like people can see that you've kind of given in to your animalistic self and you've like howled at the moon, let's say. And if this is like how you're feeling or how you're thinking, you've kind of surrendered yourself because you're in tune with your emotions. You're also in tune with the moon cycles, and you have a calling within your spirit that needs to come out. And I feel like you have long ago given yourself over into this, and you are living authentically. I'm looking at this glowing teapot right here, even though there's other stuff right here, even a dark teapot and a lighter one. And I feel like this is, again, hermit vibes, that you have like remembered who you are, that you've had to really reconnect your past and your present, and maybe even connect to your past life missions and things like that. And I feel like, people are hearing your cry. If you are, how they say cry wolf? That story, that fairy tale of the kid that cried wolf, and it cried wolf so many times, to the very point where there was danger and there was a wolf to be wary of, then nobody came to the kid's aid because the kid kept crying wolf. And I feel like you are that person that you are, when you cry wolf, people see it and they know it and they quite understand it, and they do not doubt you because you're not somebody who does it foolishly. But I feel like you sound the siren when it is warranted, and that's what I have. Pile number 3. Let's get another one of these cards. If you're liking these kind of readings, do give me a like, share, comment, subscribe. We want to know why we are hypnotized by you. It takes incredible strength to be set apart from the crowd, to be able to speak your truth, and just to be real and honest. Peaks of joy. People get a little bit like, wow, I've never seen this person like laugh, or I wonder what gives them joy, what gives them pleasure, what they really like to do in their spare time, what makes them smile. And maybe you're somebody who doesn't smile very often. That would be me, by the way. But people just wonder. They wonder about that. And when you do go through peaks of joy where you maybe perhaps you get giggly or you turn into a whole different person, and I think that they are shocked by that. I know that, if I'm around certain people, I get, like, for example, my son, of course, we're going to be like that with our kids, but I get incredibly, like, I don't know, sentimental or like loving or gushy or whatever. And that could be in direct opposition to what people typically think about you. But they like to see you in this energy because it's a little bit shocking. They've never seen anything like it. And then begins the wonder of, wow, would they be able to be like that towards me? Which is kind of interesting, right? So why are we hypnotized by you? Pile 3. I mean, on top of everything else, why not, right? Wide open. Wide open, huh? And once again, you're standing on just one patch of dirt. It's like everything else around you is like on a hill. And maybe you've seen, things be destroyed. And maybe you've lived in an area where it's been like a war zone and you're standing on rubble. I don't know your life. This could be metaphorically, this could be physically, this could be both. And if so, all of it incredibly traumatic, and there's really nothing I can say. But wow, I mean, but I feel like you've been through it and you are standing on higher ground, and you're able to see not only the decimation of everything, of like the land, of, you know, maybe even homes and things like that, but of people's spirits, if this is metaphorical. You've been able to see the long-term cost of maybe even propaganda, I'm hearing. So yeah, we just went there. But I feel like you have a higher perspective, and people are a little bit shocked that you will actually speak on that. And initially you might be like, oh, that's, you know, they might be like, well, that's, and don't be offended, I'm just telling you, that's the village idiot. But let me tell you that the village idiot doesn't gain people's attention the way you do. And the fact that they can't stop staring at you and wonder what you're doing and how you're alone and nobody's like supportive, but you have a higher perspective. And but things under your feet don't dissolve and crumble like they do, and they've seen in other people's lives who's been outspoken about nonsense, because you have merit, and what you're talking about warrants speaking on as well. And so they are shook and shocked. Okay, I feel like you go against people's expectations. Deep freeze, yeah. Wow. Look at this card. Tell me that's not so beautiful. So this is about a deep freeze, and people could see you currently and be even magnetized, okay, hypnotized by the fact that maybe you're at a standstill. Maybe you like to take naps, you like to lounge. They wonder what you think when everything around you is silent. And when you're taking a break, what does that look like for you? What does your coffee break look like? What do you think about what's going on inside of your brain? Also, the fact that like with the deep freeze comes with like not having anyone around you. How do you feel about that when there's no one around? Because we medicate so much on each other, on other people. We medicate on things that, you know, are not even important. And it's another way to deflect from what is important. And I feel like people are, that's uncommon is what I heard. So people are kind of shocked. It's like you're by yourself, and like, what do you do during that time that you go into hermit mode? Because that's what I'm feeling with this, is also hermit mode. Sad embrace. Yeah. So you suffered some losses, and people know this, and maybe perhaps you're not that open about it, but they catch glimpses of it every now and then, or they can see it in your face. Now, this can also indicate somebody who has been, you know, I mean, we all get hurt. This is called life for a reason. And we all go through heartache, heartbreak. We go through, you know, different abandonment issues or whatever. But I feel like you have led a very solitary life. You've had to be strong, and it comes to you naturally. I do feel like you're the great protector of other people, of animals, of places, of things. But people wonder, yeah, to the extent. Let me tell you this. Pile number 3. Pile number 3 with the number 50, this beautiful, beautiful compass right here. People wonder about you. And I know that that's not a shock to you. I know you're quite well aware of that. But they wonder what has caused you so much pain, what's made you withdraw, what's made you okay to be by yourself all the time or most of the time, or why you seem to be very much like a one-person army in some ways, okay? So they would like a compass to be able to kind of travel in time travel, and to be able to see like what made you you, what makes you tick, and how you navigated to this point all by yourself. Because it seems, I heard the word inconceivable, right, from the Princess Bride. Maybe you're somebody who does movie references or watches a lot of movies, or has a few choice movies that they pop up into your brain. Oops, hello. Quite often. Or you can even quote them, and you could be known for doing things like that. But people want a map into your hidden life and why it is the way you are. And this is what keeps us hypnotized. I mean, like, eyeballs are literally riveted, and it's like we can't look away. And as much as we want to be like, yeah, that's not even important, or we want to say pile number 3 ain't all that, but you are. And so I feel like they could be watching you through a veil, kind of hiding their own motives through different accounts. and they want to just check and see all about you, and they want to remain hidden and not exposed. But through the veil, I'm going to read this to you. It says, it's quite possible your eyes have become the fog in which you dwell, have swallowed a glimpse of all that you truly are or can be, that the tears you bleed are ready for the storms to turn the skies inward. Hello, not what I was thinking this was going to be at all. Beautiful card, though. Yeah, so you could be somebody who has the ability to look through the veil. And people wonder if, okay, I'm just going to say, people can wonder if you've like lost your mind, or if you have the ability at all to connect with other people, because you are like a one man's an island. One man island, no man's an island. You get the point. But I think that people can't take their eyes away from you, and they wonder, like, because you're incredibly strong and beautiful, or strong and handsome, either way, that, you know, and you seem like you manifest as well quickly, and you have all this power. It's like, well, why are you so alone? And I think that that's why they can't wrap their mind around it. It's like that single person. It's like, oh, well, you know, she's 30. She's been single. There must be a problem. Or he. So simply because you're up there in age, or because nobody's around you, doesn't mean you're lonely. It could be a choice thing. And I feel like for you, pile number 3, it's definitely a choice thing. And people wonder why you have made that choice, because it's a radical choice. And it's not like only, I don't get the feeling of, oh, I'm just single. You could be even a partnership, but do your own thing. And you're incredibly isolated. You guys don't do things together, or some way, somehow you don't allow your partnership to kind of integrate into your life or affect the other areas of your life. So it appears that you do everything alone. And yeah, that's what I have for you. Let me know if this rings a bell with you. Much, much love to you. Until next time, namaste.